I work a night shift at a warehouse that, for privacy reasons, I won't disclose the name of. I was doing my usual work when I got a notification that the building was going into lockdown. This has never happened in my time at this place, but the protocol was to stop work and find a secure place to hide out and wait, basically. There was no further details other than we were going into lockdown. My best bet was to hide behind one of the shelves and just wait it out. After a couple minutes, all the lights went out except for a few emergency ones. It was really weird being in there with very little light and very little sound at this point. It was insanely quiet in there, especially compared to usual. I just sat there by myself, unsure of what was going on. After about 30 minutes, I was notified to go outside to a designated rally point so that they could take attendance, basically. I thought it was weird that they were having us go outside for this. Usually, we would only ever go outside like this for a fire drill or something like that. Anyways, I made my way to the front and outside with everyone else. All the way there, everyone kept talking about what just happened and all their theories. I got outside with the rest of the people from my department. I met up with one of my work friends, Austin, who is in the same department as me, and we sometimes work together as well. We went through our theories together and just generally talking about what was going on. Austin pointed over to our left and said, "Hey Anthony, do you see that?" I couldn't really see anything at first until he said, "Look, there's something in there reflecting off light." He must have the eyes of an eagle, 'cause even with him pointing it out, I could barely see it. But there was something reflecting light in the bushes. We were a little curious, but couldn't just walk over there and explore. After a few minutes outside, the all clear was given, and we returned back to work. As we went inside, me and Austin decided after work we would go over there and see what that thing was. We got done with work, exited the building, and snuck over to where that bush was. We tried to be extra careful to make sure no one saw us. Austin wrestled his hand around in the bush and pulled something out. It was a knife. Not a small one, but a big kitchen knife. It looked like the one Michael Myers has in the Halloween movies. We looked at each other, both wondering the exact same thing. Why in the world was this thing out here? That was a question we didn't fully get an answer to, unfortunately. Austin put it back and we both went home. The next day, more details came out about what had happened the previous night. Apparently, someone somehow gained access to the building through one of the side entrances. This person turned out to be an ex-employee who was let go a couple weeks back. The door that supposedly this person gained entrance from happens to be on the same side of the building where the bush that the knife was in was. Could it be that this person was planning to come in and get their revenge on someone for firing them, and the knife was the weapon, but just beforehand they decided against going that particular route? Based on everything I've heard about it, that makes pretty good sense to me. This happened a little while ago and the person was caught and taken to jail. Beyond that, I don't know too much. Either way, it's pretty creepy to find something like that in a bush on the exact same night that this happened. Back when I was in school, I worked nights at a gas station in my town just as a way to earn some extra cash. The town I'm from is pretty small. There's only maybe 2 gas stations in the whole town. Anyways, I only worked part-time. Night shift was the only times it would work with my school schedule. I didn't really mind the night shift, until this night that is. I usually just set up at the front waiting to check people out. At like midnight, it really became a ghost town in there. I would play games on my phone until I was done with my shift at 6. From the hours of 1 to about 5 a.m., there would maybe be at most 3 people come in per hour. At 3 a.m., it was completely dead. I was on my phone playing games as usual. Some guy came in and came immediately up to the counter. From the way he spoke, it kinda sounded like he had some sort of mental disability. I tried really hard to understand what he was saying, but I couldn't make it out. He kept repeating the same sentence over and over. He also wasn't looking at me. He was looking like directly above me. It was kinda weird. Eventually he said bye and just walked out. That was weird, but whatever. Back to my video games. I was kinda creeped out though. I know it's night shift and all the weird stuff happens during night shift, but I had never had anything that bizarre happen. I tried to forget about it and figured I'd just get through this shift and go straight to bed when I got home. I never saw the man for the rest of the night. The next couple of days went by as normal. Right before I went to work again, I was checking my Ring doorbell camera footage at my house. I was expecting a package that said it was delivered, but it wasn't, so I was looking to see if it was dropped off. I was going through the footage and saw that a couple of nights ago at like 3:30 in the morning, some random person was at my front porch right by the front door. Not only was it 3:30 in the morning, but I also recognized the guy to be the same guy that had been at the gas station that same night. He was saying something, so I turned up the volume on the Ring app. What he was saying sounded like the exact same thing as he was saying in the store, except for some reason over the Ring footage, I could actually understand him. He was muttering my address over and over. He was just standing there, muttering exactly like he did to me at the gas station. I just kept watching with my jaw basically on the floor. I kept working at that gas station till I graduated, and never saw that guy again as far as I know. I made sure to check my cameras way more often after that. Don't ask me how he knew my address, because I have no idea. I know there's no way he should have had any access to my address. I'm just glad he didn't decide to escalate things any further. I used to work at a family friend's restaurant in town back when I was in high school. I usually would work the day shift, or the shift directly after school let out. On the weekends, this particular restaurant stayed open till 1 a.m. I still mostly worked day shift. There was one time, however, that I covered for someone's shift for a weekend night shift. I had no plans that night, and I needed the cash, so I figured, why not? During the night shift, there was only one other person in the entire place besides me. At about 12:30, we start the closing procedures, and at about 12:45, we start to lock the doors. Right at about 12:45, some man walked in. "Sorry for the inconvenience, sir, but we are just now closing up." By that point, we were only doing online orders, but there was none, so this guy obviously didn't place an order beforehand. He didn't immediately respond to me, though. I thought maybe somehow he didn't hear me. Just before I spoke up, he said, "Oh," and then backed up a few feet and stood by one of the tables. I'm really not a fan of being too confrontational with people. I was just hoping he would leave so we could finish up and go home. But he didn't leave. He just stood by that table like he was waiting for an order or something. I went to the back, where the other guy working was cleaning up, and told him what was going on. He walked back out to the front with me, and that man was gone. So I guess he just walked out when I went to the back. Cool. Wasn't my problem anymore. I finished cleaning up the counters and a few of the tables I still had to clean. I was about to head out, but went into the bathroom to wash my hands real quick. I walked in and it was pitch black in there. The lights are motion activated, so once I walked in they flicked on. I noticed the stall door at the very end was completely shut. Definitely weird, but I didn't give it much thought at first. I finished washing my hands and decided I was going to look under the stall door. I don't know what gave me the urge to do it, but something inside told me I should. I looked underneath and saw a pair of feet underneath the far stall door that had been shut. I stood back up and heard this creepy laughing sound from in there. That was enough for me to bolt out of there and to the back room where the other employee was. I told him what just happened, and he said he'd go into the bathroom with me and check. I'm not sure he actually believed me or not, but I didn't care. He went in there, and no one was in there. We even checked the women's restroom after that, and no one was there either. I had this genius idea of checking the security camera footage. The quality wasn't super great, but it clearly showed that guy from earlier going into the bathroom when I went to the back the first time, and leaving the bathroom and exiting out the front of the building the second time when I went back. I went up to the front and locked the door quickly. I had my boss check the footage the next day and told him what had happened. He told us to call the police if anything like that happens again, and to let them handle it. I wasn't planning on working night shift after that, though. I was much more content with my day shift, where things seemed to go a little more normal and a lot less creepy.